Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about something that I call the toxic tipping point in a relationship. And I want to share just a little story with you from my life and my experience with this dynamic as I experienced it. Today's video can definitely be applicable to males and females alike. I mean, everybody is susceptible to dealing with a person like this at one point in time in a romantic relationship, let's say. So this could go either way. The toxic tipping point in a relationship. So what do I mean by that? Just to put some context and explain that, my experience with somebody that I was involved with in my past where I saw this occur was a situation where I was with somebody that unfortunately had been through a lot in their lives, and they had a lot of baggage they were carrying with them and they were dealing with, and unfortunately they ended up projecting a lot of it onto me. But this was a person that was just filled with hate and a lot of anger, and as I said, it was just this constant dumping of that negative energy onto me, which was very unfair and certainly was contributory to the end of that situation in my life, unfortunately. But something happened at a certain point in time after dealing with this person and having a lot of patience, mind you, in my perspective, that I would just take a lot of the heat and the flack that was directed at me and try to be the bigger person and try to just deal with it and try to understand what this person was going through, try to not take things personally. But the personal attacks were just constant, and there was just a lot of verbal abuse and berating and just constant negativity coming my way from this person. And as I said, there was one very gripping tipping point in this situation that, as I said, came more than a year into this, knowing this person. And that was this moment in time where the negativity and the anger and the bad energy was focused on me. It got me to my breaking point where I found myself turning around and saying mean and hurtful things back to them, because I had so much, and I had more than enough of my fill of this dynamic, and none of it was fair, none of it was warranted, none of it was anything I did bad to this person, let's say. But there was just this constant, as I said, this negative flow of energy coming my way, and I snapped. And the gripping element that I'm talking about here is I started to say very mean and pointed and hurtful things back to this person, and that really caught my attention in this moment. I remember very clearly, I knew it as soon as I uttered words out of my mouth, and I just had this thought to myself deep down that this isn't me. I would never say these things normally to somebody that I'm in a caring, loving relationship with, that I do genuinely care about. And it was just amazing to me that toxicity, I had allowed it to seep in to my inner being and my soul and everything. It just made me so bad, and I fired back. And I'm a human being, and I felt the need to defend myself or retaliate. But it was just the observation that toxicity that this person was giving me had pushed me to that breaking point is the point of alarm, as I said, that I got to in my mind. And that was kind of like the beginning of the end for me, because I knew that I could never be with a person for the rest of my life that did that sort of thing to me, that had that sort of effect on me, that just constantly was just hitting me as if I was like the punching bag in the relationship, as I said, to the point where it got me to manifest part of that anger and part of that hate and what she had going on inside of her mind and her soul. And it was a sad moment of realization, as I said, because I did sincerely care about this person. I wanted the best for them, but I just knew that I couldn't be with somebody like that for the long term. And that's just the message I have for all of you out there today, is if you find yourself in a situation with a person like this, where the toxicity just gets to that tipping point, it becomes so bad where it starts to change who you are as a person. It starts to change that good, kind-natured, caring, loving person into a mean, hateful, spiteful person yourself. That is a moment and a point that should be huge alarm to you and should really get your attention. And I want to remind you that anybody out there that's listening to this, as I said, males and females, if this is your situation, you are that punching bag and you are on that end of the relationship that I'm describing, this is not right. This is not fair to you. This is not justified. It's not okay. It's not healthy. And honestly, no matter how much you might care for this person, I mean, if this has gone on long enough and you don't see any signs of change, and maybe you've communicated these things to this person about this dynamic that you don't like, and if it's still not changing, then it's really time to go. Probably it's time to wrap that one up, put it behind you, and keep moving in life. And I want to remind you again that, you know, somebody that you're going to be in a healthy relationship with, this is somebody that builds you up and gets you to be a better version of yourself, and gets you to be more caring and loving and more positive and all these sorts of things. And if you're with somebody that's that toxic, that turns you into that hateful, you know, anger-filled, mean person yourself, if they have that effect on you, that's not a good mix, and it's not somebody that you should devote much more of your time to, in my opinion. And that was the rationale that I came to. It took me 2.5 years to finally realize that, move on. And whoever you are out there, if you're listening to this, doesn't matter if you're just starting off a relationship with somebody and you're realizing this toxic dynamic, or you've been in a 20-year relationship with somebody, you've been dealing with this for 20 years, you shouldn't feel bad about leaving that situation if that really is the dynamic that's going on there. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope this helps somebody out there. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.